the idea that you can self-contain like little insular bubbles or communities is something like it's like, oh, is that possible? Could we do that? Like, like, because that is a big problem with universities, right? If you're just stuck in Zoom meetings all day, I'd lose my mind in about a week. I don't know. So,
I mean, it's definitely feasible for certain schools like Yuksa or Young. I don't know what Young's is like, but it seems like you guys have everything equipped for that. It's just that my school only has 3 restaurants. School dorm food's terrible.
No.
Yeah. Terrible. And there's one cafe about the size of this room and one convenience store for a whole lot of students. So
it becomes empty very fast.
Oh yeah. If I wanted the convenience store food, I had to be there like before lunch or dinner. I never had breakfast because I never woke up early enough to do breakfast. But yeah, so they would disappear in an instant.
I mean,
And
the way you're saying, like, we close it off, I just keep thinking, Walking Dead. Zombie apocalypse. Yeah. I'm like, this could be like a good practice, actually.
I mean, I know a lot of people have actually jokingly compared this current pandemic to something like zombie movies. There's always the person who's been bitten and hides it, and then it causes problems. There's always that one person. Like in COVID, someone's like coughing, got a fever, pop those pills, I'll be fine, and then spread it to everyone. Sinchonji call, sorry. But that was just something I've seen proposed too, is like universities, like I know my alma mater back in America has basically done something along those lines. They test students constantly. They're like, the students are more or less restricted to campus, but they can have a semi-normal college life. But like, I mean, I could easily be wrong. I've only, been trying to read the news on it. I'm not there. So I didn't know, because like Korea, like you said, it's like, universities tend to be like, oh, here's this neighborhood. Like Iwa, I don't know how Iwa functions.
Oh, I don't know either.
Yeah. And it's right across from Yonsei, so.
But I do know, because I was taking the language course in Iwa during January, February, and we had to wear our masks all day, even in class. There was no check-in thing yet. What else and you could not go into campus unless you're a student. So they closed off campuses to people who are not working or studying there. Like any tourists or anyone, they could not go into campus. I remember they actually asked me for my student ID, and I'm like, okay, I'm a student here. Let me go. So yeah, that was. I think they're kind of similar to Yonsei, maybe. I'm not sure.
And then what is something you hope that your university does going forward to help students? Obviously, within reason.
I mean, our university did propose kind of a blended system where some classes could be offline, others online, but they're like, unless the class was less than 20 students, you can have it offline. Otherwise, it's only online. But our school just said everything is online for the rest of the semester. So
yeah, we were gonna do the same thing, but it blew up again, and everything just went online.
Yeah,
nobody could argue about it.
I mean, I honestly don't resent the school for what they're doing. I'm actually very, let's say, grateful. I know a lot of people do not share my opinion. A lot of people are really angry about this whole situation. I'm like,
there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, the way I see it is like, the school is doing very well considering the whole situation.
They're trying to look out for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, all you have to do is just not, I wouldn't say selfish, but not feel the need to be out there and do
And
stuff right now.
And there are people who are like always complaining, like, oh my god, the school is so stupid. They didn't handle COVID well. I'm like, no, they handled it very well. We barely had any COVID cases on campus, like ever. The only cases we got are from people going out to clubs during COVID or going out to drink or whatever. And I'm thinking, for something that happened very suddenly and was not expected at all, something that very much disrupted everything, all the systems, everything, the school handled it very, very well from the beginning. Like, some schools would have had like an adjustment period where they would have had a lot of cases. Sorry. But our school did not have that.
There was one improvement they could have made was tell students sooner on how they're going to do things. At least for my school, the decision was very last minute. So
I mean, but then again, so the schools themselves didn't know what to do either, because the whole COVID situation was very unpredictable. So they didn't know what to tell the students.
No, even after the cases blew up and everyone knew that they would have to go back online, they didn't tell us until it was a little late. People have decision to make based on if they're gonna be physical classes or not. If they're all gonna be online, they might stay home. If they have to come to school, they might live in dorms. There's decisions you need to make before those happen, and our school just seemed like didn't handle that part very well.
I mean, it's the same in our school. Like, we do get information also very last minute, but the way I think about it is it their fault, or do they, we as students, we wait for our administration, for our actual school to tell us what to do, but do they have to wait for someone above them to tell them what to do? Because what if they have to wait for someone to tell them what to do, and then they're not getting the information until last minute as well?
Yeah, it's reasonable, I guess. It's just...
I mean, it seems like communication is a big deal. You, at least in your experience, you said Yonsei's we text people exactly. We can know exactly where this person was to the meter, to the sidewalk paver that they stood on.
Very much.
If they were positive. Does your university have a
No, I would have heard about it if they did stuff like that, but not as far as I know.
So maybe for you, communication from your administration could be a little more forthcoming, even if it's look, guys, nothing's really changed. We're just kind of letting you know we're still thinking about you.
I don't personally think it now, but what I thought was they are holding back the decisions because if the courses are going to be online, well, they're not gonna have to, but the student body would force them to give them back some of the tuition back. And
that is also a big deal in our school too.
And at the time, it kind of felt like only reason why they're not telling the students what they're going to be doing is because they don't want to deal with that.
Sure. How do you feel about that? Do you think you, as students, because you couldn't have I know Yonsei Yeongojeon, and I don't know if Konkuk, you said your festival and games were canceled. Should students get some reimbursement or credit towards next year's tuition payment or next semester? Do you think that should happen? Do you think that is they should get that?
I do, because most of our tuition money is because we're going to be using school facilities. And we're not because of COVID. All of these school facilities are closed. So I do feel like we should get partial refund, yeah.
I got a partial refund for last semester. That wasn't a whole lot, but yeah, I mean, they did that. I'm not sure if our school was the only one that did that. I think there are some schools.
Our school did not.
Yeah, the school right next to mine, Sejong, they did that as well. I'm not sure about other schools, but they do that mostly because students just wanted their money back.
Understandable.
Yeah. And we had petitions going on like online to sign to have the administration give partial refund.
I mean, all I know is that GSIS did not give any refunds. I don't know about the rest of Yonsei, though. I don't want to be on record saying, like, they did not give us any money back, and they did. But, so, I'm not sure. But I know GSIS did not, because GSIS, our dean doesn't really have the final say in that, which is understandable. So
Makes sense. Yeah, because when I was like looking at stuff, I'm like, what are students nowadays dealing with COVID? Mental health, obviously tuition refunds, because if you're self-financed, like I was, getting $1 million won back even would have been, would be such a big deal. And undergraduate's a lot different compared to graduate, but because, in Korea, like,
I mean, that actually brings up another point. I was working part-time to not pay for tuition, but pay for food and everything else. I worked in a restaurant. It was a pretty good job. Worked 2 hours every day.
that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't too tiring. But it's a restaurant. So when
COVID
when it hit again, I got laid off. So, and since COVID going on around everywhere, it was a bit difficult for me to find a job and be a student at the same time. So,
Is that restaurant still open, though?
I think it is.
Maybe you could ask for your job back.
I got another job.
Oh, okay. Well,
A
that's
better
good.
one. A better one.
I moved up. Blessings.
Hey, I should do.
So we talked about all that stuff. Do you have any other thoughts on, your life as a student during COVID and, campus life in general? Maybe.
I'm just very angry at COVID. I'm very angry.
We all are.
I think we all are.
Like, part of the reason that I came to Korea is obviously to study, but also to have, like, to do things that I did not have the opportunity to do before. And it's like, now that COVID happened, I'm like, why? Just why?
Yeah, this is my first year back to school since Army. Since, like, I did a year of university in New Zealand. That was way before the pandemic. And I worked for 2 years. So this was, like, coming back to school very fresh. And
then COVID happened.
And then COVID happens. Like,
Yeah, that's...
it just kind of sucks. I mean, I'm a bit older than all my peers, I guess, at school. Because I took 2 years, 3 years off. Did Army. So I wasn't going to go party with them. Tired. I went to bed at 3 last night and still tired. Can't do that anymore. But yeah, it just kind of sucks not being able to have that. It's one thing to have it and not do it voluntarily, but another thing to be told that no, you can't do it. Yeah,
because you may have the time now, but
yeah.
places aren't available anymore.
Yeah, that does seem like the big difference. If you voluntarily don't do something, it's like, oh, I chose. But if you're told to, it's like you have the feeling, well, you told me. Well, now I'm going to go do that. It's like, like the teenage rebellion mentality.
Yeah.
No, I understand, and I really sympathize, and I feel bad for a lot of students. Having seen how my students were struggling for like a few months, their vacation was canceled. They couldn't leave campus, and That was in January and February, you know. It wasn't even like now when it's even worse, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful that I graduated a few years ago, so I never had to deal with that. But yeah, so I mean, you guys had really good insights. Thanks for coming out. If you guys have any closing thoughts,
Stay safe.
stay safe. Yeah.
Don't go out.
Wear a mask. Sanitize your hands. I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
I'm from America. We have enough problems as it is, and people don't want to wear masks. So
At least we don't have those yet. Because I just heard...
Anti-maskers?
Yeah. Because I just heard Europe got some.
I think Europe is all under lockdown now.
France is under lockdown.
of-
Britain, as of this morning, announced a 1-month lockdown.
Yeah, a lot of Europe, actually.
France has like a curfew. It's something out of World War II. It's like 10 p.m. you have to be at home.
Oh,
No one's on the streets.
It's the same in some other countries.
Yeah. So, well, I'm just very grateful to be in Korea. Cannot
Yeah.
stress that enough. And that's it.
I have some friends that are going back to their countries and they're not looking forward to it.
I know many people aren't. Okay. Thank you very much for joining this AFI conversation series where we talked about student life on campus and how different universities are handling it. I hope to see you soon, and please stay safe. Okay.